Pokemon Legends Arceus is a major revamp of the series and a huge breath of fresh air. It's great seeing so many variables and unknowns in a Pokemon game after this long in the franchise's existence. But what about stuff they're gonna make you find? Hey folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, 10 Pokemon Legends Arceus Easter eggs and secrets. Let's start out with number 10, the Seas Legend. So probably one of the coolest Easter eggs in any Pokemon game is this. When you get to the Cobalt Coastlands, you can take on a new request from Professor Laventon, where he says he spotted a mysterious Pokemon out at sea. He says something called the Seas Legend might help you locate it. The problem is, there is no Seas Legend. You can read every book in the game and you'll never find the clue you're looking for, and if you just try to swim around in the sea to find it that way, guess what? Never works. Whatever it is, it just doesn't show up normally. So how do you actually solve this request? Well, you look elsewhere. The Seas Legend that the professor references isn't in Pokemon Legends Arceus at all. Instead, you can find it in the Canalave Library in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl. Yeah, the solution to this thing is in a totally different game that came up before this one, which is pretty interesting. I don't want to just repeat the whole legend here, but basically what you have to do is to have these 3 specific Pokemon in your party, and then you swim through these 2 big horn-shaped pillars. If you have the right Pokemon with you, something will trigger and a cave will open up on the other side of the map. The 3 Pokemon you need are Mantike, Bizzle, and Overquill. 2 are relatively easy to get, but if you want an Overquill, you've got to evolve a Quillfish through one of the most arcane methods I've ever seen. The only way to get a Quillfish to transform into an Overquill is to have a Quillfish use the strong style version of its Barb attack 20 times, which is pretty damn specific. I don't know how they expect anyone to figure that out, but there it is. Inside the cave you open up is the location of 2 legendary Pokemon called Manaphy and Phione. So this is a secret that is well worth finding, especially if you want to fill up your Pokédex. The fact they hid the solution to this puzzle in a different Pokemon game is wild, and it would be a huge pain to solve if we didn't have, like, the internet, which takes some of the edge off. At number 9 is a returning character. When you get to the Coronet Highlands, the 4th region of the game, you meet up with a guy named Ingo, who is apparently another time traveler, just like your character is. They never really say who he is, and you might not realize who he's supposed to be, because in a kind of surprising twist, he's actually not a character from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl like you might expect him to be. Maybe if you are a hardcore fan, you'd instantly recognize this dude, but he's definitely more memorable looking, if nothing else. But he's actually originally from Pokemon Black and White, where he was known as Subway Boss Ingo, one of the leaders of the Battle Subway. Visually, he looks a little older, more ragged than his appearance in Black and White, but what really gives it away is when you take him on in a trainer battle, and he has the same poses and animation as the character in Black and White. He even does the point forward with one hand, point down with the other hand pose, so like it's definitely the same guy. It's funny that of all the characters they chose to have appear again, after falling through some kind of timer, this is the guy. He's not even a full-blown gym leader. The Battle Subway is an optional challenge similar to the Battle Tower in other Pokemon games, so it's possible to miss him or even forget about him. The funny thing about this guy is they don't hide his identity at all, but unless you've taken the time to play the Battle Subway, you really have no idea who he is. At number 8 is the weird-shaped chimney. This is a really small one, but it's such a great detail. The biggest building in Jubilife Village is the Galaxy Team headquarters, and the place is considerably more modern than pretty much everything else in town. It's got a weird-shaped chimney on the side. You might walk past without thinking twice about it, but you take a second look, you might notice something. Doesn't it look a little familiar? One of the best new Pokemon introduced in Sword and Shield is the Galarian form of the Weezing, which gives the Poison-type Pokemon a big mustache and some ridiculous stovepipe hats. He's probably one of the most memorable new additions to the series in a long time, and this chimney on the side of the Galaxy building, it's definitely a reference to him. There's 2 orbs, the hats, and they even drew little faces on each one to really drive the whole point home. Like I said, it's small. There's just a visual Easter egg and nothing more than that, but we love this weird looking guy, so we're happy to see him get a little reference in Pokemon Legends Arceus. And number 7, the map lines up. Probably one of the most interesting things about Arceus is how closely the map lines up with the one from Diamond and Pearl. Pokemon Legends is a prequel to those games, so of course the map's going to be similar, but considering how visually different the two games are, and how relatively empty the world of Arceus is, it's still really impressive how many landmarks you can recognize from Diamond and Pearl in this game. For one thing, the general map is the same. Jubilife Village sits in the same general spot as Jubilife City from Diamond and Pearl. Coronet Mountain's in the same place. The Crimson Mirelands are basically the same spot as the Great Marsh, and the snowy northern section of the map's pretty much the same. So the broad strokes match up pretty well, but there's also a lot more going on. Lake Verity in the Obsidian Fieldlands, Lake Valor in the Crimson Mirelands, and Lake Acuity in the Alabaster Icelands are all in the same general spots that they were in Diamond and Pearl. The Snowpoint Temple is near the location of Snowpoint City in the future games. The Solaceon Ruins are right where Solaceon Town would be, and Celestia Ruins are right where you would find Celestic Town in Diamond and Pearl. And it feels like we're only scratching the surface with all the connections here. There's so many little references and connecting locations between the two games. If you love Diamond and Pearl, a lot of this stuff is probably pretty obvious, but for people who haven't had a chance to play Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, or just hasn't gone back to those games in a while, it's surprising to see how much this lines up. And number 6 is the Temple of Sinnoh. This entry kind of spoils the end of the game, so if you haven't beaten Arceus and want to go to the ending completely blind, don't listen to this. Unsurprisingly, the final battle in the first ending of Pokemon Legends Arceus occurs at the source of the distortion, the Temple of Sinnoh on top of Mount Coronet. What's interesting about the place is it looks pretty different when you first get there compared to how it looks in Diamond and Pearl. Even the name is different. In those games, it's called the Spear Pillar, and the place is just a big ruin, while in Arceus, the temple's still standing, at least at first. Right before the final battle, you attempt to capture the legendary Pokemon with the Origin Ball, which when thrown causes this massive explosion that destroys the temple and makes it look almost exactly the same way it does in Diamond and Pearl. It's less of an Easter egg and more a little connection between the games, but developers didn't have to put the effort to reveal how the temple was destroyed, and I doubt anyone would question why the temple looks fine in this game, but is a ruin in Diamond and Pearl, which takes place 100 years in the future, but that's cool. The pillars themselves aren't sharpened into points like Diamond and Pearl, but otherwise the layout and the floor look almost identical, and that's a cool touch. And number 5 is the Galaxy Team, the Diamond Clan, and the Pearl Clan. These are kind of obvious, but we gotta mention them. The three main organizations in Arceus are Pokemon Gen 4 references. The Galaxy Team, the guys you work for and the primary good guys of the game, are predecessors to Team Galactic, which are the main bad guys from Diamond and Pearl. Their goals could not be further apart, though. Galaxy Team wants to survey the world and make it safer for both people and Pokemon, while Team Galactic are basically supervillains run by a nihilistic bad guy who wants to recreate the world and become a god, so obviously the goals are a little different. It's actually hard to say if there's a direct connection between the two organizations, if the names are just supposed to be references, because other than the names and logos, there's not much else that connects the two groups. Maybe it's just meant to be a little hint that Galaxy Team turns on you near the end? I don't know. There might be some other connections that I'm missing, so let us know if you think any. The other groups, Diamond Clan and Pearl Clan, of course references the titles of the games. They're basically a big joke about how the games are split in two. They have the same color schemes as their respective games. They obsess over concepts that their legendary Pokemon represent, like how Diamond Clan's obsessed with time and Pearl Clan's obsessed with space. And their most important function is that you decide what order you take on the last boss, which unsurprisingly also occurs depending on which version of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl you played. If you were playing Pokemon Pearl, you would fight Palkia at the end, and if you're fighting Diamond, you fight Dialga. Pretty much works the same here. Near the end of the game, you get a choice whether you have either the Pearl Clan or the Diamond Clan with you, and choosing one is pretty much like picking which version you play, at least when it comes to the ending. They aren't the most hidden references, but they're interesting. At number 4, the Galaxy leader looks just like Professor Rowan. One of the more memorable professor characters from the Pokemon franchise is Professor Rowan. Unlike the bumbling or goofy professors from the other Pokemon games, Rowan is generally pretty serious and straightforward. And just looking at him and the leader Galaxy makes it obvious that the two are meant to look similar. They both have big sideburns, a bushy mustache, and a serious expression. It's basically like Kamado is meant to be a younger version of the professor. The obvious thing for them to do would be to make Pokemon Legends Arceus professors the same as the one from Diamond and Pearl, but Professor Laventon is nothing like Rowan and has a much more lighthearted personality. Another interesting callback with this character is when you end up fighting him near the end of the game. When you face him, he's wearing a black suit of armor that looks familiar to eagle-eyed Pokemon players. It's actually the same armor that Wickstrom, the member of the Elite Four, wore in X and Y, and that's a pretty deep cut. I'm not sure if Kamado is supposed to be like an ancestor to Rowan or what, but his personality does transfer well over to a stern leader type, so it makes sense. At number 3, Kogita is Cynthia, or possibly an ancestor. One character that doesn't get introduced until pretty late in the story is Kogita, the mysterious woman who seems to know a lot about the legend of Arceus. She already stands out a lot because she wears more Western-style clothing compared to the more traditionally Japanese clothes everyone else wears in the game, and it seems like there's more going on to her than we know. One theory we've seen thrown around a lot is that Kogita is actually Cynthia, the champion and archaeologist from Diamond and Pearl. Like time travel's a thing in this game, as proven by characters like you and Ingo, so it's not an impossibility. Kogita also does look pretty similar to Cynthia, and in another connection, Kogita's hideout is located in the same general area that Cynthia's hometown, Celestic Town, is located in Diamond and Pearl. As far as I know, they never directly say one way or the other if this is true, whether Kogita is Cynthia or her ancestor, but there's definitely supposed to be a connection here. Also, the character of Volo is a lot like Cynthia as well. He's interested in archaeology, he's blonde with a similar haircut, so it's possible he's an ancestor of hers as well. None of this is directly said in the game, so it's all just interesting tidbits for fans to speculate about, at least as far as we know. At number 2 is the Cricketune meme. Back in 2013, at least according to KnowYourMeme.com, a YouTuber named Senior Pac-Man put out a video where they named off Pokemon based on the sound they make. For Cricketune, they came up with the onomatopoeia dee-lee-lee-lee-whoop. I'm not sure where it all started or exactly what, but people started putting out memes based on this creature's goofy cry. It wasn't anything huge, but people managed to make some pretty funny stuff with it. The thing about onomatopoeias is that they're purely based off the listener's perception. Cats make a meow sound in English, but in Japanese it's Nyan, and neither thing really sounds like the noise a cat actually makes, but that's just how people vocalize it. So the Cricketune meme is just one way someone can interpret the sound that a Pokemon makes. Whoever did the script for Pokemon Legends Arceus must have remembered that meme, because when you encounter a Cricketune as part of a quest early in the game, they write out the noise the creature makes exactly the same as the meme. This one is where it's possible the whole thing is just a funny coincidence, but considering how close the writing is, I can't help but feel like it's just a reference to the meme. And finally, at number 1, the Diamond Clan tent pictures. The only major town in Pokemon Legends Arceus is Jubilee Village, but that doesn't mean there aren't a few settlements you can visit. One little town you can check out is the Diamond Clan settlement, and inside the tent, you can find pictures of 2 figures drawn in a more traditional style. Looking at them, you might think they're just generic pictures. There are too many specific details, though, for them to just be nobody. So the guy on the right is clearly meant to be Maxie, the leader of Team Magma from Pokemon Ruby. He's got the same stern face, the same slick back red hair that Maxie has. The guy on the left's a little more unclear. From my searching, he reminds me of 2 characters, either Alder, the Pokemon League champion from Black and White, or Lysander, the boss of Team Flare from X and Y. Lysander makes a little more sense because that would make both portraits of team leaders. On the other hand, the actual appearance does look a little closer to Alder, who has 2-toned hair and a little strap of Pokeballs on his chest, the same as the portrait. Comparing them both, I'm leaning toward Alder as the character the portrait's supposed to be connected to. Either it's an ancestor or just a sly little reference. Why are they here? I have no idea. Maybe it's a hint at a future game, maybe it's possible DLC, maybe it's just a cute little Easter egg. Either way, it's a pretty cool thing to notice. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is to course subscriptions. Click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon Hero. We'll see you next time right here on Gamers.